It's really great to have you here this morning. And as far as the plan for the day, we'll do an update on the territory in our region quickly, and we'll talk about 10 million kids. You may have heard some buzz about that with communications that you've seen from Awana, or even me, I'm not sure. But we'll talk about 10 million kids and what is that all about. The changes and new things that are coming this year with Awana, and then just some resources to help you in your club, your local church, reach more kids for the gospel. So that is our plan for the day. So let's move on to the next slide here. And let's do an update. First, we just give you a quick update on our family. You are seeing our latest prayer card picture, and actually our prayer cards are being printed as we speak. So we'll have those for fall conference, and if you need prayer cards anytime, you just let me know and we can get some off to you. But so that is. Those are our three girls, obviously. Megan on the left, she's 19 now, and she's going to be going back to Cedarville in August, later this month, as a sophomore. Katie is our lone high schooler, and she heads back to Kansas to complete her final year of high school at Berean Academy in Kansas. And then Emily graduated from nursing at Cedarville. She's an RN now, and she actually just took a job at in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And so next Friday we leave to get Megan settled at Cedarville and move Emily to Fort Worth to get her set up, and then Fort Wayne. I'm sorry, yeah, not Fort Worth, Fort Wayne. And then we travel out to Wichita, Kansas area to set Katie up, and we'll be empty nesters again. But we've really enjoyed having the girls with us this summer, and it's been a real blessing. As you can see, we're in our 11th year as Awana missionaries now, and we serve Western Kentucky and Western Tennessee. There's about 125 churches that use Awana in that area. Now, Ben, you'll notice that Ben is he's missing, so we'll show you Ben here. That's his wife Lisa. They live where we came from in Kansas, in Newton, and that is little Henry, our new grandbaby, that came on February 4th. And as you can imagine, he gets a lot of attention, and he just pops up everywhere. See, there he is again. He just keeps showing himself, but he's sitting up now, and we think he's pretty cute. So we're really enjoying being grandparents to little Henry. Okay, I want to share with you I'll just do this briefly, and then we'll move on. But if you ever wonder what does an Awana missionary do, well, there's just some of the primary things we do on our mission with Awana, and we're obviously advocates for children's ministry. We promote Awana. We help clubs get started. We do ongoing training. This is an example, and this is something new that we're trying with webinars and technology, just as a way to reach more Awana leaders and churches. And this is something that we hope will catch on and is a great tool. And maybe there's I'm thinking of other applications we might be able to use this format with. But yeah, ongoing training for commanders and leaders, and support and encourage the local church, and of course our goal is to come alongside you. So we're your servants. We want to help equip you and parents to reach and disciple more and more kids, as many kids as we can. So we are here to serve you as your Awana missionaries, and I hope you see that and recognize that and know that we're here to be a help to you. Okay, when I will use language that's a little new. In my role as state director now, we are actually over a team of missionaries that cover the Mid-South. So this is our Mid-South missionary team, and there are 6 wonderful missionary couples that we serve alongside. The Vanderfords are in eastern Tennessee. The Welchers have most of Kentucky. The Morgans are in Alabama. The Sipes are missionaries now serving in Mississippi. They used to have Mississippi and Western Tennessee, but they have Mississippi. And the Hobarts are in the Chattanooga area and a little bit of Alabama. In fact, Frank used to be the missionary for the entire state of Tennessee. And then the Gillettes are in the middle Tennessee area, kind of based in the Nashville area. So that is our team. We have experience that ranges from about 3 years up over 30 years of experience. But we serve that missionary. Our missionary team serves and includes Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. And that's about 1,400 churches, reaching about 95,000 kids. So we truly are a team in the sense that we help one another, and we cover this large area as a missionary team serving you. In fact, the Morgans are going to be joining us for our fall conference on September 6th, though. So when you hear or see communications talking about the Mid-South team, well, that's who we are, and that's what we do, and then Chris and I are leading that as directors of this region. Okay, let's keep moving along here. Prayer, just some quick prayer requests for us. Preparations for fall conference coming on September 6th. So hopefully you've received information on that already. We'll talk a little bit more about that, and I've got even a list of the initial workshops we're going to be doing. God's directions as we seek to double the number of children that we're reaching through Awana, and I'll speak to that here in a moment. Just pray. When you're praying, not just for Chris and myself and our family, but our whole Mid-South region, there's so much work to be done. And in fact, I've got more missionaries there. We need more missionaries. We only have a part-time person in Alabama in the Morgans, and there's about 300 clubs there. And Frank, the Hobarts cover a little bit about that of Alabama, but most of Alabama is an open territory as far as a missionary. So we need a missionary in Alabama for sure, and we need another missionary in Mississippi to help the Sipes. So just pray for that, and continue to, if you could, just pray for our financial support. We just continue to be around that 70% mark, and we are actively meeting with people and churches this summer to get our support up to where it needs to be. So if your church isn't supporting us, maybe that's something that you could present on our behalf, the possibility of them, of your church supporting us financially. And it's been a rough summer. Our support has really been down, which is typical in the summertime. And so, but anyway, just continue to pray for us, because all of our needs come through, both personal ministry, come through gifts from churches and individuals. And so certainly that's a prayer request of ours at this time. So thank you for praying for us. Okay, the buzz about 10 million kids. That was on our opening slide there. 10 million kids. Look at this graph, and the first 55 years of Awana, God has allowed us to reach over 1 million kids, and that's what that blue, the blue line represents there. And look what's happened over the last 5 years. We've been able to double just in the 5 years. We've doubled the number of kids we're reaching from what we were able to do the first 55 years. And part of that has been a new approach to ministry internationally. In fact, those numbers really represent exponential growth that's taken place outside of the U.S. So in the U.S., we've stayed pretty flat. You know, those 1 million kids we're reaching every year, every week in Awana, that stayed at about 1 million kids. So that 5 years of growth has taken place internationally just in an incredible way. But we are seeing a lot of growth, obviously, and we've doubled the number of kids that we're touching in the past 5 years. So pretty incredible when you look at what's happening with Awana, and it is really growing outside of the U.S., and there's a number of reasons for that. But Awana is very excited about that. But Now the new focus on Awana is really a goal of reaching 10 million kids by the year 2020, and we're praying that God will allow us to do that. And you all have a vital role to play. The local church, leaders, commanders, directors, parents, clubbers, your missionary team, all of us have a part in reaching 10 million kids, and that's a daunting number. That's a huge number. And what I want to do is let's break that down a little bit and talk to you about what that actually looks like in the sense of what our opportunity is. And so I put this slide together to show the opportunity globally. You'll see there's about 2.2 billion kids out there worldwide. And it is estimated that about 1.5 billion have never heard the name of Jesus. Now, Awana globally is reaching 2.4 million of those 2.2 billion. About 1 million in the U.S., about 1.4 million outside the U.S. In the U.S., we have about 66 million kids. Awana's reaching 1 million. The obvious question is, what about the other 65 million? How many of those are being reached with the gospel? And then let's look at it down to a regional level, just in our 4-state area. That includes, obviously, western Tennessee and western Kentucky. 5 million kids. We're reaching 95,000 of those, roughly. And that's about 2%. And, you know, our team is not satisfied with that. None of us should be satisfied with that. And the fact is that Awana is positioned like no other time in its history to reach kids, not just the U.S., but to reach kids globally. And we can be literally anywhere and any time. And a lot of this has to do now with just our network that we have globally, our connections, our partnerships, technology, all those things coming together where we can literally be about any place in the world with Awana to share the Awana ministry. And, you know, I think of Matthew chapter 9. The harvest is truly plentiful, and it's never been as great as it is right now. And the opportunity is huge, and we see that with these numbers. So 2020 goal, again, 10 million kids. If you look over there on the left-hand side, 10 million by 2020. 8 million of those 10 million is going to be outside of the U.S. So about 6-fold growth outside of the U.S. And then in the U.S., we want to reach 2 million. Well, we're reaching 1 million now. We want to double the number of kids we're touching with Awana inside the U.S. And we look at it regionally. I mentioned we're reaching about 95,000. Our team, if God allows us in our 4-state area, we want to double the number of kids that we're touching. But how are we going to do that? Well, we know that God's got to be in it. If it's going to happen, God needs to be in that. And this is going to involve not just our team, but again, you all and all of us who have an opportunity to reach children, leaders, kids, parents. We're all vital to expanding our reach. And, you know, the way we reached the first 1 million kids in the U.S. isn't going to be the same way that we reach the next 1 million. What I mean by that is we do traditional Awana, you know, with the handbooks and the uniforms and the awards and everything we think about that's traditional Awana. And that's still a vital ministry, and it will continue to be. But there are many places in the U.S. or right in our region or maybe in your own community or area there where traditional Awana, for whatever reason, is not going to work. So we are going away from the mindset of adding more clubs to reaching more children. And that may mean through traditional clubs, but it's also going to mean other ways to reach kids, however we can. And at some point in our history, in Awana's history, our method, Awana Club, became our ministry. Our method, which is club, became our ministry, and Awana is going back to that original mission, reclaiming that original mission of evangelism and discipleship. Evangelism and discipleship, our original mission. And you know, we see that churches are reclaiming that mission as well, and we want to help churches connect with their sidewalk to the Great Commission. And we all have a sidewalk there to the Great Commission just outside of our church. We want to align our ministry of Awana to the mission of the local church. You know, and that's what we've been talking about as our ministry team, is talking to churches, talking to your churches and others about, you know, what is your mission and how can Awana align with you in that mission. And there is definitely beginning to be a groundswell of movement outside even of traditional club. I'm going to hold up this is the Truth Seekers material. I don't know if you all have seen that or not, but this was brought from International, and this material is what is where the exponential growth is happening globally, because this doesn't require handbooks or uniforms. It can be done with much less cost and much less leaders, and so we can take the Truth Seekers material into places where maybe traditional Awana isn't going to work, and that is happening on Indian, like the reservations. It's happening with the Navajo Indian tribe right now. They are using Truth Seekers. In fact, they've raised an Awana missionary right on the reservation. There's an Awana missionary candidate now raising support to expand Awana's reach on the Indian reservations. We see it with a Nigerian church denomination. There's 600 Nigerian churches across the U.S. These are immigrants from Nigeria primarily, and they've said, we want Truth Seekers in all 600 of our churches. When we look at, well, let's take Memphis. If you looked at a map of the Awana clubs in the Memphis area, there's a lot of clubs outside the inner city, but not a lot inside inner city Memphis. So how do we reach those kids inside in our inner cities? And maybe traditional doesn't work. Maybe Truth Seekers will be the answer, or maybe something else. But the idea is, you know, what can we do to reach those kids? And that may be partnering with churches in the inner city there that's already doing Awana, and how can they be an advocate for us? Maybe we work with churches that are outside of the inner city, but they have a ministry. They already have connections, and they're doing ministry inside Memphis. So how maybe we can connect and align with those churches and bring Awana through their contacts are already there. Or maybe there's new relationships, and that's part of my job, is what are some new relationships that can be created inside you know, our inner cities, where we can, and that may not be churches. It could be organizations. It could be the Y or other inner city ministries where we could bring Awana in. So, you know, there's a great amount of opportunity there for us. Obviously, it's just figuring out, okay, how can we reach more kids, and what's going to be the best tool to make that happen. So that I wanted to share that, just give you some perspective. Any question on that before we keep moving on to our next topic?
No, not here. Okay. I like it though.
Okay, good. Well, you know, and the question is, okay, what can we do? What can we do as a club to not only strengthen our own clubs, but expand our reach and be more effective? And I want to share three or four things with you that I've been beginning to share with churches as we talk to them. And I mentioned just getting with them and just talking to them about their mission and how can we align with them, but also a big part of what we do is, okay, how can we help you? in your ministry to reach and evangelize and disciple more children. So 4 things I want to throw at you. So really, as you think about kids in your community or your sphere of influence, how many are you reaching as commanders and directors? What is your vision to reach and disciple those kids, and how can we join you in that mission? So I want to offer 4 areas for you to pray about and maybe incorporate into your communications and your planning if these are helpful to you. And it's higher, deeper, wider, longer. I want to shut off my camera here for a moment. I just want us to focus on these slides here. So let me do that. And let's just walk through these: higher, deeper, wider, and longer. Higher. Let's just take that first one. Higher. Your club is not defined by your efficient registration or check-in process. It shouldn't be defined by cool theme nights. Although, Rhonda, you've got some really cool theme nights. I know that. It's not defined by 100% clubbers and leaders in their uniforms or an over-the-top game time, etc. Now, these are all good things, and it's not that they're not good things, but what can we do to raise our club to a higher level, a higher standard? Our leaders need to know that serving in Awana is bigger than just showing up to club to sign off on sections or to have fun with the kids or just to be there to try to keep them from tearing up the place, or whatever those motivations are for leaders. It's so much more than that. Being an Awana leader is strategic. It's strategic to be an Awana leader. It's missional. It's impactful. It's ministry for the kingdom. Do our leaders see that when they look at their role in Awana? And as leaders of our clubs, are we training leaders? Are we equipping them? Sadly, a great number of our leaders haven't been properly trained. A great number of our leaders don't attend a fall ministry conference. A great number of our leaders haven't really worked through a role book even. And so we need to take advantage of the opportunity to equip and train our leaders so they are as effective as they can be. Are we all on the same page? Do we all have the same vision and purpose with evangelism and discipleship? Are we talking about that on a regular basis? I did a survey, and some of you may have responded, I don't know, and one of the questions I asked was, are we meeting with our leaders on a regular basis? And many churches came back, many commanders came back and said, we do an upfront meeting, but we really don't talk a lot through the year. So how do we convey that vision and keep it alive throughout the whole year? Those regular meetings with your leaders are so important, and I can't stress that enough. Are we building long-term disciples with our children? And we'll talk about that more in a minute, but are we building disciple makers themselves in our club, and do we focus on that? Are we intentionally connecting and partnering with moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas? We recognize they're the primary spiritual influencers of our kids, but how good of a job are we doing connecting with them and partnering with them? And finally, are we reaching out beyond the walls of our church? So really just thinking about that higher, what can we do to raise the standard, the level of our clubs to a higher level? Okay, that's the first thing that we can focus on this coming year even. Deeper. Okay, so what's that mean, deeper? Well, I think about 2 Timothy 2:15. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. And I thought, we need 2 Timothy 2:15 kids. Let's move our kids from being just hearers of the word, but doers of the word as well. So when they recite their verses, we want to make sure we're explaining what those verses mean. We want to encourage them to live out those verses according to God's word, to know why and what they believe. That's really what we want. That's what we should be doing. We want to think long-term discipleship. Long-term discipleship. build discipleship into all you do each and every week. So I want to challenge you to build long-term discipleship into everything that you do throughout your whole Awana year. Let's move these kids deeper in God's Word than ever before, maybe than we've ever. Well, and let's move our leaders deeper into God's Word maybe we've ever done before as well. But let's challenge them to continuously being doers of the Word. So deeper. Let's go deeper this year with our kids and young people. Now the next one is wider. Acts 1:8, you know, that's the theme for our conference this year on September 6th in Memphis, or in Millington. How can we expand our reach as a club this year? We kind of talked about that already with the 10 million kids. What can we do to expand our reach? You know, we look at our neighborhood and our community. How can we expand our reach right in our neighborhood and community? What about helping another church that we know? You know, we have touch points as a church to different churches in different communities. Maybe we can help other churches start their own Awana club or with Truth Seekers. Or we can partner with Awana by sponsoring disadvantaged children around the world to allow them to come to Awana. We'll talk about more. There's some new programs out to do that. Or maybe we, or your church already has some ministry connections in areas we talked about, like the inner city, or maybe in some rural areas or wherever, that you're already doing ministry. Maybe it's a different kind of ministry than children's ministry, but it may be an opportunity to bring Awana into that. So how can we, what can we do? What are the ways we, our club, can play a greater role in reaching 10 million kids by 2020? So wider, expanding our reach through our Awana ministry. And finally, longer. This really speaks to that long-term discipleship piece that we're talking about. You know, we've seen the statistics. Half of our young people, our Christian young people, are leaving the church when they leave home to go off to college or go off to a career. Barna found just recently that 2 out of 20 millennials who grew up in Christian homes think that going to church is important. 2 out of 20 who grew up in Christian homes of these millennials think that going to church is important. 15% of Christian teens that leave the home leave with a biblical worldview. And see, those kids that came to club in the past are now leaders themselves. But the issue, I think, is there's really not enough of them. You know, as I travel clubs, the average age of the Awana leader out there is like, you know, my age or greater. You know, here, you know, I'm getting to be, I'm in my 50s now, and that really is the age of our average Awana leader. You know, there's not many young people, 20-somethings, early 30s, you know, kind of in that millennial group that are out there serving. Not nearly enough. So we need to build a legacy that continues to the next generation and beyond. You know, if we don't, you know, who's going to reach these kids 5, 10, 20 years from now? These kids that are coming up. If we don't build into the lives of these kids as they leave Awana and they get into middle school and high school to keep them serving, who's going to train? Who's going to reach the next generation? You know, how do we do that? Well, parental involvement, I think, is key to that. If you look at I read a blog the other day, you know, what are some key things to keeping young people involved in the church when they leave? A big part of that, frankly, was moms and dads doing the job they need to do in the home. You know, we have only so much control over that, but we can certainly work to continue to partner with those moms and dads. Trek and Journey, keeping them moving along after TNT, moving into the Trek and Journey material. Being student leaders, always looking for opportunities to get those young people, even those high schoolers and in some cases middle schoolers, serving in our Awana program. You know, we're building we're building our next generation of leaders that way. Training them, mentoring them, encouraging them, those are all key things to looking longer taking that long-term discipleship view with the kids that are going through our club now. How do we keep them engaged when they become teenagers and 20-somethings so we don't lose them? So the harvest is truly plentiful, and it's what an incredible opportunity we have in Awana. What an incredible opportunity you have in your local club to reach kids everywhere, to disciple them in their faith. And we know a big part of that is even partnering with the family to make that a reality. So I hope that was an encouragement to you, and maybe there's some things there that you can take and even share with your leadership or your pastor as you prepare for the upcoming Awana year. 3 pillars. You're gonna see more of this, especially if you've been on the website. You know, Awana is aligning itself globally. In fact, last year the U.S. arm of Awana and the international arm, they came together as one organization under one leader now, Brian Rhodes. And we're talking a lot about aligning ourselves globally around 3 pillars: reach kids, equip leaders, and change the world. You know, reaching kids and youth represent the greatest opportunity to make a long-term impact on our world. We believe the world will change when the life of a child is changed, and that goes back to that evangelism and discipleship. Equipping leaders. Awana equips leaders and parents to reach and disciple kids who impact their generation for the gospel. So we want to equip our leaders, and you probably agree, I would think, that Awana has some great equipping, great training tools. There are some exciting things coming down the road that you are going to just be thrilled with in the area of continuing to equip your leaders. And then finally, we want to be world changers. We want to change the world through the transforming power of the gospel that we're sharing each and every week with our young people. We can change the world. Michelle, I'm showing we lost you. You still on the phone?
I am. I lost the connection somehow or another, but I'm listening and I'm getting back on.
Okay, very good. We'll keep
here.
rolling along here. Okay, any questions that you all have? I don't think we've got any chat questions or anything, but any questions before we move into some of the new stuff that's coming down the pike this year?
I think we're good. I did have one question, though. You were talking about in implementing or using your middle schoolers.
Yes.
Because we do have a TREC program, how would you, because we feel like that's where they really need to be.
Yeah.
What areas would you use them in? Like right now, they're in that.
Sorry, go ahead.
We feel like they're in that need to be ministered to. Does that make sense?
Versus being ready to serve in club.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, for those middle schoolers, that may not be, they may not be ready, or you may not be ready for them to get involved in Awana just yet, because you are continuing to disciple them and minister them. Typically, those are high schoolers who are the student leaders.
That's what we're using. And when you said middle schoolers,
Yeah.
I was just kind of like going, okay, I'm not sure that I feel like our middle schoolers are really spiritually prepared yet to step into that arena.
That's right. Yeah, you could use them. I mean, it's an option, but certainly at the high school level, those are probably most of where we see student leaders. So you're fine. Just keep ministering and discipling those middle schoolers and get them ready, and then you can then look for ways as they become high schoolers like you are to integrate them in as leaders in your club. That's great.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And I'm back on, by the way.
Okay, awesome.
I can see you again.
All right. Okay, I want to move into new resources. There's not a ton of new stuff, and in some ways that's kind of that's kind of good, because there's been a lot of changes over the last few years. With the Sparks and Cubbies and those type of things. So, but there are some definitely some important ones that we want to talk about, and one of those is the new Awana.org. If you haven't, make sure you go out there, because it's a whole new look, and I'm sure you've noticed that, and it's all around those 3 pillars of Awana: reaching kids, equipping leaders, and changing the world. And you know, those things that were out there before are still there, but you may find them at a different place, and then there's new resources out there as well. One of the big changes is, if you remember last year, or up till about June or July 1st or June 16th, you had to log in to ART over on the left-hand side. ART is no longer. There is one single sign-on, and that's only if you're going in and ordering things on the Awana store. So Awana has opened up all those resources that used to be kind of behind the curtain in ART. Those are available to anybody. And so ART is no longer. Now, you should have received an email a month or so or longer ago to go ahead and set up your new account in the store. And if you haven't, you want to call customer service, or if you're having trouble ordering things and you're not sure how to do that, just call customer service up at Awana and they'll help you. They'll walk you through that. But those are resources that used to be out there, the training videos and all the other resources. If you just simply click on Equip Leaders and then on U.S. Leaders, then you'll see all that content over on the right side of that page for you to choose from. And there are those videos. If you haven't gone to all those online skills videos in Club Clinic, those are still there. In fact, you can download those now. So there are so many wonderful, short training videos that you can use with your leaders, and they're downloadable now. You don't have to have Wi-Fi. And you know, another thing a lot of people don't know about, and I don't have it on my PowerPoint, but I was in there a couple days ago. There is an Awana community. It's kind of like a message board, and it's community.awana.org. Community.awana.org. And here you can share and comment with other people. You can get your questions answered. You can share ideas and feedback. You can get your problem solved. You can enter if you're having a problem. Awana's customer service is constantly monitoring that. But it's kind of a message board, and there's different categories there. So you may have a problem. You can go out there and search on a topic, and maybe that's already been addressed. Or maybe there's some great ideas out there that another Awana leader has tried. You know, for instance, it could be, hey, what are ways to integrate my high schoolers in as student leaders into my Awana club? Well, somebody may have already threw that idea out there. So if you have some time, check out community.awana.org. Maybe some things of real help and interest to you. Okay, what club changes are coming this year? Let's take a look at that. First, you may have seen communication, hopefully, on the new Cubbies Bible Verse Music app. This just was launched on July 1st. This is a wonderful resource to share with your parents of your Cubbies. It's a great way for Cubbies to interact with the Bible while they sing along to the memory verse songs. So it's available for the songs for both Appleseed and now with the new Honeycomb, the Honeycomb material that's coming out in year 2 of the Cubbies update. The first 7 songs on this app are free, and then parents have the option of purchasing verse music for an entire book for a small price. It's actually, the CDs are still out there, so they can still buy the standalone CD with all the music, you know, all the verses in their handbook. Those are set to music, but those are also available now in the Cubbies, the Bible Verse Music app, and it's actually cheaper. It's a cheaper option than buying the CD. When you buy all the additional music content on the app, it's cheaper than if you buy the CD. And so that is now available. It's on iTunes only at this time. We don't really have a date yet where it would be available on the Android platform, but it is available on the iTunes store. And so these kids can listen and sing to their Bible verses. There's actually a feature there where they can videotape themselves singing right there, and they can post that or share it if they wanted to. And they can even choose one of the Cubby characters to hear their song that they're singing. And so it's pretty interactive. So make sure moms and dads of Cubbies know about the new Cubby Bible Verse Music app. Any questions on that?
Pretty cool. I just wish it was already on the Android side, but
yeah, I know. Hopefully that won't be too long, but they haven't given us a date yet, so
that's okay.
Okay. All right. We have the Honeycomb. Here's the new handbook for Honeycomb. Okay. So that is now in the store, and all of those great resources you had for last year's material, Appleseed, are now available in Honeycomb. So the handbook with the music CD, the book awards, the teaching cards, the teaching plans, those are all out there for you to order. And they have a new item as well that's a standalone 3-panel display that your Cubby leaders can use when they're using the teacher cards. And so that's out on page 43 if you have the catalog, or you can search that on the store. So that's a new item that they've added this year, is the stand-up display. So anyway, that material is out there and ready to be ordered if you haven't. Any questions on the Cubbies at all before we move on to the next thing? All right. Okay, Sparky. Sparky Sunny Hollow Adventures. This is a K through 2nd grade resource that features 5 engaging adventures. And they're really flexible, so you can use them over a 5-day program. It was originally launched this past summer as curriculum for a K through 2nd, like if you wanted to do a VBS type format. Or you can use these individually throughout your Sparks year. So you can kind of spread this programming throughout your Sparks year if you want to. And it's perfect even for those tough to program time slots, like if you're having a business meeting or parent date nights, or you've got a seasonal break. You could bring this material in for those K through 2nd grade kids. Again, or if you just want to spice up your club night, that material is there. So you can find that out on awana.org in the store, and you can read all about that new resource for you for those Sparks. Okay, you probably have seen that Awana is changing the Ultimate Adventure shirts, the uniform. They're available now July 1st, and this is it's the material similar to the jersey material that is already available for the challenge. And Awana got a lot of feedback about the dogs and the bones and all those things, and just the safety of those. And they just clubs wanted a safer and easier way to do awards for their Ultimate Adventure kids. And so you'll see on this shirt here that there is a new emblem-based Ultimate Adventure award system. No more pins, no more dog bones, no more dogs, no more hopefully kids getting stuck by the clasp inside their uniform. So those emblems are in multiple colors. You can use them with any discovery in the Ultimate Adventure books. You also notice the gold and silver patches are there as well. And the kids, you can allow them to creatively do design, so you can kind of take those each award that they're earning, each patch they're earning for each individual discovery. You can let them design them different ways on their sleeves, and you can decide which ones you want to give out for each discovery. And so that is the new award system for Truth in Training, along with the new jersey. Any questions on that?
That's great.
Okay. So you can't get the old T-shirts on the store anymore, and you can't get the you won't be able to buy the Dogs and the Bones. Those are gone. So you can certainly, if you have a large supply of those, you can keep using them, or you can shift over to the new awards system. Or if you still got a lot of the old green T-shirts, and the kids are using those, and you can hold off on buying the new ones till next year, you could still use the new award system on your existing T-shirts even. And there is a Badge Magic now. If you use Badge Magic for the awards, for the patches, they've added the Badge Magic sheets for the new awards. Okay, you probably, and here's a card here. I've got a picture of it up on the screen. There was an announcement that went out that Truth in Training Ultimate Adventure is going to be updated in fall 2015. That has now been pushed back to 2016. So there is no update for the fall 2015. A couple reasons for that. One is that Awana is developing, and they just received sign-off from the board of directors to pursue a digital strategy that they want to now launch in the summer of 2015. And with that new digital strategy, that it will incorporate Truth in Training, obviously, and so they didn't want to go in with a bunch of changes to Truth in Training while they're working on the new digital strategy. So the digital piece, which I don't have a lot of details right now because it's in development stage, but they will be launching some digital tools for you to use as Awana commanders, and youth pastors will use, leaders will use, parents, clubbers. It'll be an integrated platform, an integrated portal that's digital. So it's very exciting. I just don't have a lot of details to share right now. But with that, they've decided to push back the update to 2016 for TNT. And this will also give them, like they did with the Cubby updates, a year to test those, field test those, get feedback, and then incorporate those changes into the update that's coming on 2016. So nothing happening as far as fall 2015 as was previously communicated. Any questions on that?
Sounds good.
Okay, let's move into Trek. There are big, exciting changes for Trek this year. More than I can even begin to address here, but I do want to just go through that with you as far as the new Trek curriculum. And it's been about a decade since the last time Trek was updated for the middle school. And frankly, as I've gone around the last several years, Trek is being used, but it's obvious that it was not an easy curriculum for the leaders and the parents and even the kids to use. And so they have really spent many hours and months over the last year developing a new Trek program, and they really got a lot of feedback from Trek leaders across the country. And they kind of piloted it through the second half of last year, and the response was overwhelming. And I just want to give you a few highlights here. They're going to one new verse instead of two every week now. And the idea is they want to slow your kids down so they can dig deeper into God's Word, and they build it to allow more time for discussion and to understand. So remember we were talking about long-term discipleship? Well, that all ties into that. So they're slowing down, not as many new memory verses for the kids, and they really want to focus on that memory verse and all the teaching content around that. All the kids are going to have, you'll see the link of this thing here, they're going to have This is like a devotional. This is their handbook, but it's a devotional that it really encourages those kids to be in the study of God's Word 7 days a week. And they're going to write in this thing, and this is really it's like a devotional book for the kids. It's also their handbook. This is a 3-year curriculum. New Bible studies. This is all new content, more attractive and easy to follow. It's easier it's an easier layout. Talking about destiny, that life thread of destiny of the 5 life threads with Awana. Who am I? What is my purpose? Why am I here? Now there is a Trek Essentials. That really replaces the old Trek Compass Points. These are a simplified version of the main Bible study. Okay, and those are for new believers and young Christians. Maybe they're not ready for this, but they have a Trek Essentials that you can allow them to use for those kids. For leaders, a new Trek guide that's about as thicker than this. That's going to be much easier for your leaders. The student material is incorporated right into their leader guide now, so there's no flipping back and forth between the two books. There's new PowerPoint slide decks to support your large group time lessons, and so we think this is going to be a welcomed update for sure. So if you're using Trek now, you're going to love the new stuff, everything we've heard and seen, and if you're not using it, this is a great time to jump in and try the new Trek material. Introduce Trek to your middle school program. In the way of training for the new Trek, one, you can go out to I think it's gettrek.org, and you can order a sample of the new Trek material. Training-wise, you can order the Trek roll book, and it includes new training videos around the Trek update. The Getting Started Basic Training Kit has now been updated with the new Trek content. Jeremy Pettit, the director of Youth Ministries, is going to be doing 4 webinars, 1-hour-long webinars. So you can go out to the awanaym.org website, and there should be links off of that to sign up for what we're doing, like a format we're doing today. Jeremy's going to be doing live webinars on August 5th, August 14th, August 18th, and August 26th. So if you have Trek leaders, that would be, you definitely want to tell them about that and encourage them to sign up for a webinar. Now at fall conference this year, we are also going to have a workshop on the new 2014 Trek update. So we'll have all the materials, and we'll walk your Trek leaders through the new material at fall conference on September 6th. And something new here for your middle school and high school leaders and kids and parents is a separate, you've got your own store, the Awana YM store, and it's at store.awanaym.org. There'll be a wide variety of incentives for your students and your leaders. There, as you can see, there's clothing and stuff, digital type things. You can see the USB, the thumb drive there, and there is a stylus like for a cell phone or a tablet. There's a USB charger. Just a lot of great stuff there for your middle school and high schoolers. They've got their own store now, so they can go out there and buy things on the Awana store through awanaym.org. Okay, any questions on, that's it as far as new things coming down from Awana this fall. Any questions on anything that we presented to you? Okay. I will take that as no, Mike, we've got it, and let's keep moving. So we will keep moving along here. Okay, next slide. What resources will help me reach more kids? That's what we want to do. We want to reach more kids, and so let's talk about those briefly. I've been mentioning already the Awana Ministry Conferences. You should have received in the mail one of these. Michelle, did you get yours?
I don't remember seeing
your flyer?
I don't remember seeing this.
Okay.
No.
I mailed it to you, but I can mail you another one out.
But you may have mailed it to the church, and I haven't gotten it yet. That's okay.
Mailed them to both the church and Commanders. So anyway,
I will look for it at church tomorrow.
Look for it at church tomorrow. So
yeah,
it should be there. So it's the flyer. It went out several weeks ago, so it wasn't.
Okay, I'll look and see. Okay.
Rhonda, did you get one?
Is it online also?
Yeah.
No, but I can do it. I can put it out online easily that way.
That'd be great.
Rhonda, okay, I'll do that and just I'll add it. Sorry, I'm looking at the phone while I'm talking. I will add it to. I'll just add a PDF of it out on our website.
Okay, that's awesome.
Okay, and Rhonda, you said that you received yours?
Yes, we have received ours. Thank you.
Okay, great.
And is this
all right.
in September?
September 6th. I'll go ahead and let me move that to the next slide. There's the information, September 6th. And it's all around really expanding the reach. That's going to be our focus around Acts 1:8. September 6th, Crosspoint Baptist Church in Millington. And I've got a schedule here. There's the schedule with the workshops. The doors will open at 7:30. We want you to register online, and that's at the bottom of that screen there. You can just go to our website, and there's a link right on our home page to go in and then register your church. Here is the cost. This year, early bird, if you register before 8/31, you can get a cheaper price. Student leaders, your high schoolers, middle school, high school, if they're involved as student leaders, they can come for $10. And pastors, one pastor per church can come free. And those prices include the continental breakfast, the lunch, and a full day of workshops, and a keynote speaker, and great fellowship. Here is at least an introductory list of the workshops that we're going to be offering. This is not a full list. We have some others that we're working on that we will be sharing. I will post this out on our website as well, so you can share with your leaders, and I'll actually just send an email as well when we have a full list, and you can link that. I'm sorry, there'll be a link to this list to our website, but it'll be on the email. This is, I was talking to Chris yesterday. Commanders really are the key to getting their leaders to come to the conference. So if you don't promote it in any way, leaders aren't going to know about it. And it's such a wonderful day of training for your leaders, and they get so much out of the workshops and just being there with other Awana leaders. And so Commanders are really the conduit for us getting the word out about the fall conference. So we really do encourage you to encourage your leaders, get the church van and just come on out. And we will love having you there for that training. And we're getting you out of there an hour earlier this year. So we'll be done by 3 o'clock. We're done by 3 o'clock, so that last workshop is at 2:10, and then so hopefully that will help as well. Any questions on conference?
Looks good.
Okay. All right, hitting the mark. I know that Michelle, you're familiar with hitting the mark, and your club has benefited from going to that 2.5-day training. Rhonda, you may or may not know about hitting the mark, but it's a 2.5-day training event where you can bring 2 to 3 people from your church, and the objectives really are to create passionate, committed advocates for your children's ministry. They prepare new clubs to launch their club with excellence, even that first year, and it trains you. Those who come, it's train the trainer training, if you will. You leave with the Getting Started Basic Training Manual, and you have 2.5 days where you're immersed in Awana, and you are prepared to then go back with that Getting Started Manual to train your leaders. And what's great about that is you will then just use that resource and that knowledge year after year to train your new leaders that come into your club. And so that allows you to determine when that teaching will take place, and hopefully get many more leaders trained versus waiting for us to do our regional training, or and those dates don't always work. And so we promote this for both existing and new clubs, both. Those existing clubs, this can literally breathe new life into your club. Kind of like Commander College can do that for commanders. This has that effect. And I know, Michelle, you're on our call. You're a church that went through Getting Started Hitting the Mark last year because you were a new club. And I know that was helpful to you. And just do you have any words of? Well,
it was really helpful, not only just to me and to Anthony, who is another wanted commander in our area, but we took it back and then did it for our church and for their church, and we did it collaboratively so that nobody just had to listen to me all day. And it was really good. It gave those people some training that they've never had, and you've hit on it more than one time. Is one of the things we struggle with, and I think a lot of churches struggle with, is the fact that you can't get these leaders to step up because they've had no training and they're very uncomfortable with new material. We see that a lot of our leaders are my age or older who've been teaching Sunday school. So it helped them to be a little bit more prepared for the year ahead when we did it. And we did it right before our club started. And this year we've moved our club to start this next Wednesday. And so we haven't done that yet and haven't talked to Anthony. But we look forward to training these people, because we do think that's one of our main initiatives, is to train them to be able to go and train others and reach others. So it was a great program, great thing. I learned so much.
Great. Thank you so much for that testimony. Yeah, so we encourage, and when I send out communications on Hitting the Mark, I'm sending it to every church. If you're doing Awana for 30 years, or it's your second year, or like Michelle, your church, brand new, obviously, Hitting the Mark is a wonderful training, and we're working on ways to even shorten that a little bit, and maybe we can use some technology like this and some videos where shorten the time. But there's nothing like getting together and just spending a couple days, where we're all in the same room, and we're just immersing ourselves in just doing Awana, preparing ourselves, and doing Awana better. And like you said, Michelle, the key thing is, our folks are going to be more apt to serve if they know what's expected of them, and they're comfortable and they're confident. And that Getting Started material really does that, and we train you to go back to your church and use it. That's great. And speaking of getting started, this is what the manual looks like. Rhonda, you may have this. I'm not sure. This is they launched a new basic training manual a couple of years ago called Getting Started. And so, in fact, we taught this at your church last year. This is what we used. It's exactly the same material that we use. It gives you 5.5 hours of teaching material. It's in a modular fashion, so it's flexible. You can break it up into weeknights or over a couple of weeks, or knock it out, over on a Saturday. So great material, and just a great tool for you as a leader to train your leaders. And as you look at the next slide, they are actually, we talked about getting started. going to the class or doing that on your own as a church for your own leaders. Also, they are working now on some getting started modules and putting those out on the awana.org website in the Equipping Your Leaders to Serve section. So if you do have some folks that for whatever reason weren't not able to come to your Getting Started or our regional Getting Started event, or you want to reinforce or they want to go back and reinforce some areas, some of those, there will be some Getting Started online modules that will be available as to you as a registered church where you can actually go back in and revisit those or send your folks to watch that training. And so there are some online resources around Getting Started coming to you. Again, the roll books, those are great resources, and you guys may already be using these, but I'll put one of those up on the screen here. Awesome. Some people, they learn much better when they're reading, and part of being a certified leader is going through this roll book and taking the test after they go through Getting Started. And so continue to reinforce getting your leaders those roll books, and that's a great resource. And then pocket guides, you may have seen these. These came out last year. We have them from Puggles all the way up through Trek now, and those are for your leaders. It has the, you notice it has the gospel wheel there, and it gives bullet points of what your leaders should be doing in the 3 elements of your night: handbook time, large group time, game time, and it gives you even some helpful hints on scripture memory and the standards and all those things, and just in a easy to carry around pocket guide that you can purchase that for your leaders to have. Just another resource for them to be more effective leaders. Commander College, I'll touch on that for a moment. That is designed especially for commanders, although we've had some pastors come and some directors come, and we think that's great too. 2.5 days of training, and here's the next one that's coming up. I'll go ahead and put that up on the screen. We have one. We just finished one in the Knoxville area. We have both a Commander College 101 and 201 coming to the Garner Creek Retreat Center in Dixon, Tennessee on January 29th through the 31st. And so if you are a commander and you've not gone through Commander College yet, we highly encourage you to do that. It is tremendous training, and we just have seen firsthand the transforming that can take place in a club when those commanders leave Commander College and they go back to their clubs. We had a club in Kansas. They've been doing Awana for a long time, and they had they hit a rut. They were struggling. They were, I would say they were on life support, and they would agree with me. And the co-commanders, a husband and wife, came to Commander College. They've now gone to not only 101, 201, and 301, and the 301 is actually up at Awana headquarters. But they came back with a renewed vision and passion, and they literally turned their club around in the first year. The church was kind of balking on putting the money together to send them to 201, and when the directors found out about that, they went to the church leadership and said, "You've got to send them back to 201." That's how impactful Commander College was to that club. So I really encourage you, if you can, come to Commander College. It's so much fun, and you learn so much, and it really is taking you, there's no question the commander is the key position in your Awana club, key leadership position. And so we think, and we've seen churches investing the dollars to get you there. And so there will be, I'm not sure it's out on my website yet, but it will be out there soon. There will be a link so you can go and register and get more information about Commander College. So any questions on that? All right, just some additional online training and resources just to check out at the awana.org website. Remember, all those art materials, resources are still out there. There's just tons of things with the Club Clinic videos that we talked about already. Then there is also the You Belong resources for recruiting and motivating your leaders. Those items are still out there. There's a great Life Threads blog out there that's updated on a regular basis that has great information. You can launch into that under the Club Training and Resources area as well. Okay, any questions on anything we've talked about so far?
No, it looks good to me.
Okay. Ronnie, you doing okay?
Doing good, doing good. Taking it all in.
Awesome. Okay. All right, let's finish up with an area we want to talk about, which is outreach and advocacy. You will be, if you have not yet, you will be getting information on a new program, a new resource, if you will, called Awana Go, and it's a new international mission program designed for churches and clubs. So if you're looking for a dynamic, meaningful, and kid-friendly way to go into all the world and make disciples, and really that's our theme, you know, that's what we're talking about an awful lot this year. This can make an impact, help you make an impact beyond just your four walls of your church. The exciting thing about this, for registered churches, this is free missions curriculum. Now, it's not ready yet. It's coming. It's coming soon. It's actually an array of tools and resources. Everything from large group lessons, videos, engagement opportunities, and more. Now, in mid-August, you can go out. You'll just have to kind of go out and check it, and hopefully you all will get, as commanders, you'll get communication as well. But you go to awana.org/go, and you can actually sign up where you can put your contact information out there, and that will allow you to be notified when that library is available and new content is added. So you can educate, engage, and inspire your clubbers using the tools and tips available to you on this Go library. And it can make a difference for other children for sure. And we'll have, we actually are going to have a workshop around this whole area of outreach and missions and going outside of your church, even into international missions and ways that you can do that. We actually have the director of advocacy coming from headquarters, Tom Chilton, and Tom is going to be doing our keynote, and he's doing some workshops, and one of them will be around this whole Awana Go program that they've launched. And part of that is taking a challenge for your club around every child, everywhere, and it says on that screen there, you can make a difference in the life of a child for as little as $10. So $10 reaches one child, shares the gospel, and provides long-term discipleship through Awana. And so you can challenge, as a club, you can sponsor a child for $10, and that allows that child, that disadvantaged child, to go to an Awana club for 4 years. And so you can promote that as a club, but the great thing, you can also just promote it as to individuals or families, that they can make a difference for other children in need as well. So as part, this really ties into that goal of Awana of reaching 10 million kids by 2020. And so again, for as little as $10, your family or your leaders or parents or whoever, they can get involved in sponsoring a child for $10, or your club can sponsor. Let's say if you did a $30 a month, that's 36 kids in a year that you could sponsor to a child to go to an Awana club somewhere in the world. Pretty exciting, and we're going to be talking more about that at conference, how you can do that and get involved in that. and you definitely will be getting some communication, I'm sure, with Awana as well. And if you go to awana.org/donate, you can also make those contributions like that with Every Child Everywhere online. You can donate to an area of the world that you have an interest in, and you can even donate online to your Awana missionary right there at awana.org/donate. So that those resources are out there, and much more information to come on that, but it is exciting. And again, we'll be really highlighting that at our conference on September 6th. Well, I want to thank you. I've gone through all the things that we want to share with you today. I just want to open this up and entertain any questions that you have about anything we've talked about today, or anything in general with your club, or any way that we can help. Let's entertain any questions you might have today.
This has been really good. You know, it's always, our club's been around a few years and we need a little kickstart. So I think this is a good start to that. I appreciate it.
Okay, good. That's great to hear. Yeah. And encourage your leaders. For once you don't have, yeah, well, that's okay. We've left you speechless.
That's it.
Right. Well, you know, you guys know, and I hope you know, that Chris and I we just love serving you, and we're just here to help you any way that we can. So we love getting phone calls and emails from leaders and commanders and pastors, and you know, that's why we do ministry. So don't ever hesitate to contact us if you need help, and we will get back to you. And if we don't have an answer, we'll track it down and get it for you. So I just want you to know that you've got an advocate that's on your side, and know that you know, we're here to serve you. So, all right. Chris and I just want to thank you for, again, taking the time out of your weekend. I know it's busy, just to join us today, and we do hope that this was beneficial. And we just look forward to hearing what God's going to do in your clubs this year, and we look forward to also seeing you at conference in the fall. So thank you again for being part of our meeting today.